Well, this morning we're taking a look at a new way to keep your teens safe while being on the road.
This is especially important because car crashes kill more teens here in the U.S. than anything else. And so far, this year in New Mexico, 13 teens have died in crashes. That's 3 times more than at this time last year.
But AAA thinks it has a way to get those numbers down. Our News 13's David Romero is live near the Big I in Albuquerque with details. David, good morning. So how does this program work?
Good morning, Elizabeth. It's called AAA On Board, and once the device is installed in the teen's car, it becomes another set of eyes for parents to keep an eye on their loved ones. Now, when parents log onto the website which controls the device, they can set parameters on the car like speed and geographic boundaries as to where the teen can drive. Now, they can also track where the car is and if the teen exceeds the speed limit. Their parents are notified immediately via a text or email. Companies like AAA are offering services like this because of the high number of teens that have been killed on the roads within the last few years. Parents, just a heads up, this is not the only option out there for monitoring your teen's driving. Sites like Mobile Teen GPS and iTeen 365 also offers similar ways of monitoring the kids driving. Now, the AAA version is only free for the members who are part of the AAA. Now, again, this is a good reminder for parents that you want to look into any of those devices, any of the ones we mentioned, or even just jumping onto the internet and trying to find something to make sure your teens stay safe behind the wheel. Elizabeth, back to you.
Sounds like a pretty interesting program, David. Thank you very much. According to AAA, they say we are right in the middle of the most dangerous driving season, which is between Labor Day and Labor Day holidays.
Labor Day and Memorial Day, I think you meant. All right, this morning, schools here in New Mexico are getting a better look at their final grades from the governor's controversial new grading system under the federal No Child Left Behind program, which used to grade schools here. 98% were failing. Under the state's new A through F system, the vast majority passed, but 2/3 got a C or lower. One of the big differences in these two systems is that now the grades are not based just on test scores, but also on attendance and parent involvement.
One of the more positive things about the A-F system is that we're not looked at by one criteria, but there are many criteria. So that is a big difference, and that's why I say that we look forward to understanding it more, but I do think it's more fair than the AYP grading system.
The state released preliminary grades back in January, but then tweaked the system so the federal government could drop the No Child Left Behind requirements. And here in Albuquerque, the grades, unfortunately, were not stellar. APS's elementary school scored very low with a 1.5 GPA that is right between a C and a D. APS's Midland high schools did a little bit better, averaging Cs. La Cueva, the only traditional APS high school to get an A.
Well, it has been almost a year since State Judge Pat Mundoch was arrested on rape charges, and this morning a lot of his high-profile cases still have not gone to court. We did some checking around. Take, for example, the case of Joseph Blea, a rape suspect accused of attacking dozens of girls in the McKinley Middle School area back in the late 1980s. No trial date for him yet. Then there's the public corruption case against Secretary of State Rebecca Vigil Giron and some of her colleagues. Trial has finally been set for November after being in limbo for about 3 years.
I was surprised at the amount of work that the attorneys that appear in front of me have to accomplish. And it did surprise me as to how many cases we have to deal with.
Well, Judge Mundoch also oversaw the murder case involving Ronald Santiago, a home loan specialist accused of killing 2 former clients. A new judge has now been assigned to the case, but has yet to set a trial date. As for the case against Judge Mundoch, the charges that forced him to step off the bench have been dropped, at least for now. He was arrested in his chambers almost a year ago, as I mentioned, after a prostitute tried to sell undercover cops a video of her having sex with the judge and then claimed he also raped her.
Well, the man police say tried to have his girlfriend killed while he was in jail, set to be in court today. Justin Santilli is still in jail this morning, charged with aggravated battery and intimidation of a witness. Police say that back in January, he asked a friend to slit his girlfriend's throat after he was arrested, accused of beating her up. He's supposed to be in court today to talk about what happens if he is let out of jail before his trial. A man who Albuquerque police shot during a domestic violence call last summer is waking up in jail again this morning. Orlando Paisano got booked Sunday after police say he got into a fight with his girlfriend in June of last year. An officer shot Paisano 4 times. saying Paisano lunged at him with a bayonet. And get this, just a few months ago, Paisano showed us his scars at the scene of another police shooting.
Well, we are learning this morning that an officer accused of forcing a kiss on a high school girl is off the streets. 41-year-old Orlando Cordova retired from Espanola PD on June 15th. The chief says Cordova was under investigation by the state law enforcement board after allegations surfaced that he had forced a kiss on a student at Espanola Valley High School, where he worked as a school resource officer. A restraining order filed against Cordova by the student was dropped late last month. And News 13 has learned that Cordova has been accused of questionable behavior before. He had been in law enforcement for about 20 years.